This is what the left has to put forward, that somehow the right wants to eliminate or even kill people that we disagree with. No, not at all. We simply want to keep the innocence of children and women's spaces for women.
In today's video, progressive attorney Ethan Bierman absolutely destroys Fox News star Tomi Lahren in a heated debate over so-called wokeism. Ethan Bierman cuts through Tomi Lahren's culture war buzzwords with facts, history, and sharp logic, exposing just how shaky her arguments really are. From civil rights to political accountability, this debate shows exactly what happens when substance meets sound bites. Ethan Bierman is thinking long-term, while Tomi Lahren is stuck chasing headlines. Let's watch how Ethan Bierman dismantles Tomi Lahren in this must-see showdown.
And I will be able to destroy leftism in this country and leave woke ideology on the dustbin of history.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis making that vow during an interview on the Fox News channel this week. Does leftism need to be destroyed? Let's debate that and more with two of our favorites. An issue is debate. Joining us here in studio, representing the left, is Ethan Bierman. He is a professor at Loyola Law School, and he is the owner of the Bierman Law Firm. And on the right, joining us, Tomi Lahren is back. She's a commentator on Fox News and Fox News Radio. She's also the host of Tomi Lahren is Fearless on Outkick. She's joining us from her home base in Nashville, Tennessee. And Tomi, Ethan, before we start, Ethan, can we concede one thing, that Tomi Lahren is indeed fearless?
Yes, I'll go with that. I'll concede. Tomi is fearless.
Yeah, great to have you back, Tomi.
Oh, it's so great to be with you guys. You know, I have to say I am happy that I'm in Tennessee, but I have a lot of love for California. I keep up with everything that you guys are doing there, so I'm excited to have a great discussion. Very spirited, I'm sure.
Well, let's start by talking about a governor you like probably a lot more than our governor, Ron DeSantis, and his vow that leftism needs to be destroyed. Do you agree with that? Is that a bit over the top?
No, it absolutely isn't. And when we're talking about leftism, we're not talking about Democrats or the Democrat Party. We're talking about wokeism. We're talking about radical leftism. And I 100% agree with our governor that that needs to be destroyed. And you're seeing a lot of Americans, not just on the conservative side, rejecting wokeism because it's just simply gone too far, as we've seen, especially in the last few months. So conservatives, and I believe just rational Americans in general, are putting a stop to it with their wallets and with their feet, as you see the great exodus from California. Sorry about that, guys. But I think leftism is already being rejected, and I think that a governor, Ron DeSantis, and a president, Ron DeSantis, would eliminate it and just get us back to the good old conservatives, liberals, Democrat, Republicans. I think we can move forward with that.
Ethan, your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the Regressive Party, of course, speaks its mind through this idea of ending anybody who opposes them. We're seeing that in legislation in red states across the United States right now, denying the existence of certain people even, and refusing to teach the history of what actually has happened in this United States. Of course, destroying any other political party and any rational mind like that, if the only thing that needs to be destroyed in this world is Nazism and the idea that we kill people whom we disagree with. So no, obviously we need people with different political ideologies to have rational, growing debates that challenge our beliefs so we can progress as a nation. Look, if you destroy the idea of what Tomi just described as leftism, you would still have slavery. You would not have a Civil Rights Act. Women wouldn't be able to vote. And, transporting minors across state lines might have a different outcome than they are today. That's actually progressive politics that got those things taken care of.
Tomi?
Well, let's also keep in mind, I don't know if Ethan is a history buff, but let's keep in mind it was actually the Republican Party that ended slavery. So I just want to note that for him. But again, I find this very frustrating when folks on the left talk about how the right or conservatives want to eliminate people. Saying that we don't want adult men dressed in drag gyrating in front of children does not mean we want to eliminate drag queens or gay people or trans people. We want to keep the integrity of women's sports. We want to protect children from grooming grooming and sexualization. That's not eliminating absolutely anybody. But of course, this is what the left has to put forward, that somehow the right wants to eliminate or even kill people that we disagree with. No, not at all. We simply want to keep the innocence of children and women's spaces for women. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Well, I mean, look, it's way beyond what you just described, and you also conflated numerous issues. Let's also start with the basics of history, which actually is a topic that I enjoy quite a bit. The Republicans of the 1860s were liberals, and it was the switch in the early 1960s that happened between the Republicans and the Democrats. Liberals were the ones, leftists were the ones who fought against things like slavery. Liberals, Jews, black people, those white people with progressive minds were the ones who fought for the Civil Rights Act and fought against the white people in the South who viciously attacked, brutalized, and murdered people simply for wanting equal rights. We're seeing the leading edge of that right now.
Here's where Ethan Behrman really takes control. Tomi Lahren throws out that predictable line, Republicans ended slavery. And yeah, that's technically true if you ignore 160 years of political realignment. But Ethan Behrman knows his history. He doesn't just correct her, he puts it in context. The Republican Party of Abraham Lincoln has nothing in common with today's GOP, which is now fueled by outrage, culture wars, and anti-woke talking points. The fight for civil rights, women's votes, even basic education, all of that came from people labeled radical in their time. What Behrman does here is remind us real progress isn't about which party you claim, it's about what you stand for. And in this moment, Tomi Lahren is standing on shaky ground.
By the way, attacking a Target store for putting up an LGBTQ display to be inclusive, yeah, that's violence to destroy a piece of private property in that case. And it's not healthy for anybody to do that.
Okay, Alex, I'm seeing the gaslighting here and I have to just jump in. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember 3 years ago, but my local Target was boarded up because of the BLM Summer of Love. So when I hear somebody saying that conservatives are somehow destroying property at Target, I'm sorry, I'm waving the BS flag and I hope you can see it in California. That's utterly ridiculous. Target has had pride displays for many years and no one took issue with them. It wasn't until you had the tucking bikinis and you started putting this paraphernalia on children's clothes targeting children that we had an issue. So we have every right to be capitalists and to vote with our pocketbooks, and we are doing that with Target. We did it with Bud Light. And from the party that literally invented cancel culture, that literally wanted to cancel everybody from 2020 on, I find it really rich the Democrats are now crying over the boycott of Bud Light and Target.
Well, Target actually sold those bikinis in years past, but we don't need to get into the specifics of the Target sales.
What stands out to me is how differently Ethan Behrman and Tomi Lahren approach this whole idea of wokeism. Tomi Lahren treats it like a threat, something to fight, to cancel, to fear, but Ethan Behrman treats it like a conversation about inclusion, history, and rights. And honestly, that's the real divide here. It's not just left versus right. It's thoughtful versus performative. Ethan Behrman brings law, facts, and real-life context. Tomi Lahren brings outrage and buzzwords. And notice what gets her the most fired up. Not healthcare, not inequality, not the economy, but bikinis at Target and drag queens at Storytime. That's the culture war playbook, and Ethan Behrman doesn't take the bait. He stays focused on what actually matters. So yeah, if you're keeping score, this wasn't even close. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did Ethan Behrman win this one, or are you siding with Tomi Lahren? Hit like, subscribe if you're into real debate, and I'll see you in the next one.